confuse Janice and I as we look. And so someone will come up to me and say, "You are doing such a good job in Congress." And we've just made a pact that I go, thank you so much, and I'm so glad. And then when they say to Janice, we wish you, well when you run for you win for mayor, and she goes, yes, so it's good. Well, I cannot tell you how heartwarming it is to be with this group of women. I cannot tell you how important it is that as we stand here on the verge of not only electing the most qualified, but the first woman mayor of the city of Los Angeles. And after 163 years, it's about time.
Yes.
But this is more than just about breaking a glass ceiling. It's about ensuring that women have a clear and outspoken voice for the issues that are important to us. It's when I sat with Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project and talked about what's at stake. I talked about the importance of using the voice of the mayor of the second largest city for good, for making sure that we stand up on the issues that are important. Now, women represent half of LA's population and could account for 55% of the vote on election day. Yet, there's a chance, as mentioned earlier, that we will have no women on the city council. And I don't believe this, but there would be a chance if we don't do everything possible to not have a citywide elected office holder that's a woman. I'm only the second woman in the history to be a citywide elected office holder, only the third woman in the city's history to have a child law in office. So we know that we can do better. We know that when women vote, women win. And I do know that's the case. As I talked to a young girl last night, I was on Vermont. I've gone to a lot of places, and thank God I did not eat at all of them. But I was at Palermo's last night on Vermont, in Los Feliz. And I also went to Roscoe's, chicken and waffles, and I've been at a few places. But as I was walking to Palermo, this young girl who's 6 years old came running over to me, little Latina girl, and she said, "Are you Wendy Greul?" I said, "Yes." She says, "Can I take your picture?" "Sure." So she did, and how nice to meet you. Then she ran back to her dad, and then she came back in and wanted to take a picture with her dad's camera. And I said, I'd be the first woman mayor of Los Angeles. And her eyes got big, and then she also said to me, "I'm going to be the first woman president." That's what she said. She is not the first. I've told this story a bit because every little girl I've spoken to who is excited about this says, "I want to be able to be X. I want to be the first." One young girl said, "I wanted to be the first woman mayor," and I was like, "Sorry, I'm going to take it." But the exciting part is that young girls believe that they can achieve everything and anything. Young girls believe that they're role models who have broken that glass ceiling and got where they are. But we all know there are still huge challenges. There are still huge challenges for women. And having a voice of being not only the most qualified, but the first woman mayor to talk about these issues that impact women every day. Because we need someone who's going to fight for choice, for access to safe, affordable health care, and for equal pay for all of us. And someone who just doesn't give lip service, but is actually going to fight for it. And has a history. And I think that I have been the candidate who stood up. I'm the candidate whose record speaks for itself. I have been working since the I know I have to admit how long that's been, the 1980s, when there were people who tried to limit access to Planned Parenthood clinics. I was there at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, saying we will allow our women to have access, to have the choice that is so important. I audited the Women's Minority Business Program in the City of Los Angeles and said we can do better. We can do so much better to make sure women have a voice. And I led the efforts to implement the citywide equal benefits orders to provide equal treatment for all city employees. And it is important to mentor young women. There is a favorite quote I like to use because of Madeleine Albright. She said, "There's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women." Okay? So we need to rise. And so I will be a champion for women and girls. I will make sure that women are represented not only in my office, but on commissions and department heads, and making sure that we have a strong voice in the government of Los Angeles. And I want to say that as I've gone around this city, and talk to people. And today, as you can see, I'm kind of losing my voice already, but this morning I was with another wonderful colleague of yours, Congresswoman Maxine Waters. I was with Magic Johnson. I was with Mark Thomas, John Mack, Dick Reardon. I run the gamut today. But all people who have said, we're going to support Wendy Greul. And President Clinton, who was here just 3 weeks ago, and I've kind of said, somewhat jokingly, all of a sudden in the middle of my remarks and talking, and I was listening to President Clinton, I suddenly realized I'm sitting next to the President of the United States who just endorsed me, and had to pinch myself. Is that not cool? Yeah. But I introduced him and I used a quote that's very important that he had used during his time as president. There's no better social program than a good job. That's right. There's no better social program than a good job. And that's what we need to do for our young women and others, and that means equal pay for equal work. That means making sure everyone has access. That means we have a great educational system for our children, not just dependent on your zip code. And I have to thank our school board members, one who's retired but not really retired from that, and Monica, who's been president, who have stood up and said, this is important, the future of our children. And so, when I look at all of the supporters, and Congresswoman Chu and Congresswoman Han were there when Nancy Pelosi and Barbara Boxer and Dolores Huerta, Roz Wyman, Lily Ledbetter, all of these, and the women here have stood up and said it is about time. And so it is only 3 days away. And it is about convincing people, one, to make sure they vote for me, and two, that they get out to vote. Because a lot of people kind of forget. It's election day, what's on the ballot? It matters. And so I encourage all of you to say to your friends, and yes, I got 2 of those emails because I get them. Yes, myself. No, I'm not as good as you are. So, but please look at your email because I did get it. And I was like, this is great. You all should look because if you're on my list, you're going to get those 5 people.
I already called my 5.
I won my first race by 225 votes out of 30,000.
That's right.
I called people up until that last moment. I knocked on the door of a gentleman at 7:45. Some of you have heard this story. 7:45, and I had been up since 4:30. Sometimes they tell the candidate, "Oh, just relax during the day. Call and thank people." It's like, are you crazy? I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm going to do what everyone else is doing.
Right.
So I was in my tennis shoes. We were running up to different places and putting the door hangers on. And so this is 7:45. And as many of you know, you can find out if people have voted or not. Right. And so we got a call to say, here, there's 3 people in this cul-de-sac have not voted yet, and they're yes voters for you. So we knocked on the door, the first one. This young man answered, and I said, hi, I'm Wendy Greul. It's 7:45. You have 15 minutes to get to the voting booth. You are a yes vote for me. It's down the street. I hope you go vote. And he starts to say, oh, I was at school. I had jury duty. And then he looks at me and goes, you're Wendy Greul. Yeah. And I said, yes, I'm disheveled, but yes, I am Wendy Greul. And he said, well, if you took the time to come to my door, I'm going to go vote. And I was hoping he would. I started to go to this was a bad cul-de-sac. They had not voted yet, so I went to the next house, but I saw him open the garage door, get in his car, and voted. And at 3:30 in the morning, when I was only up 55 votes, I remembered that guy.
Right.
So think about it. It's about emailing. It's about calling. It's about not taking anything for granted. It's about making sure that we get everyone to vote, because this election is very important. And there is a difference between me and my opponent. There is a difference in who's going to lose in this election. So, when I think about not only the Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project, and I think about Feminist Majority and the California list and Emily's list and the NWPC and more than 700 women with Wendy supporters across Los Angeles, I know that I'm not going to be alone in making it across the finish line. I know I am not going to be alone walking and talking the next several days. And I know I'm not going to be alone when we win on Tuesday and lead Los Angeles forward. I want you to make those calls. 5 of them are really easy. It's a great, I'd never ever seen this before. It is a great way to do it, because I don't know about you, when someone says, oh, you need to call someone, and they send you the phone number, like, oh, I could just press that. It's so easy to do. That's what it does. Get that email. And so we are focusing in on making sure we get women out to vote, because I do believe that the numbers are very close. Every poll I've seen, and I've seen, shows that within 1 point. Every poll shows that women's vote will determine how we get over the finish line. And we talked this morning, it's in every single community. And what we want to say is Wendy has not only the qualifications, has the vision to move Los Angeles forward, but is going to work harder than anybody else. And I have my secret weapon, Thomas, who is, and of course my husband. So, thank you. You have invested in me. It's a busy Saturday. You came out today. This is, I don't know what event it is already, but I've been to some Starbucks. I've said hello to people. I've been to the pantry. I have been in other restaurants saying hello to people and are handing out food to the some of the low-income community this morning in Boyle Heights, the African-American church, the last African-American church in Boyle Heights, who every third Saturday hands out food to everybody, which is really great. So I want to especially acknowledge, I mean, I have many of my staff here, but Jamara, who fell today and had to go to the hospital, but she is still here this morning. She went to the hospital and came back out. So, and the other person I want to thank, of course, is Olivia Mitchell, who was my first boss at 17 years old. And I am who I am today because of you, Olivia. I'm also here today because of my mom, like your mom, Janice, and all of our moms who made a big difference in our lives. And so she's going to be shining on me in the next few days, giving me that strength to say, Wendy, you can do this. Yes. And with you, we can do this. With all of you doing the most you can do in the next few days, we are going to do this. And we can sleep after Tuesday. We can sleep after Tuesday. So my challenge to you is one, call those 5 people. You can't have Janice Hunt outdo you, okay, just so you know. Call those few people that you got emailed today from Janelle. It's Janelle Erickson. You'll see it on your email. Call 5 other people in the city of Los Angeles. Call people and say, it matters who the next mayor is, and we're going to do everything. We don't want to wake up on Wednesday and say, I could have made that last call. Let's do that. Let's win. Let's lead Los Angeles forward, and let's make sure that all of our girls have an opportunity to know that they can achieve their dreams no matter what. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to Planned Parenthood Advocacy Project for having us here today. And this is exemplary of every spot I've gone today. We've had groups of people going out. And I think when I've looked at the schedule of someone else who's running, not out that much today in public. So we know that every voter is going to make a difference. So tonight you will, like I said, I'm going to some delis, I'm going to other places, and you know that it's working when people come up to you and say, aren't you Wendy Greul? Yep. I'm voting for you. So let's make that happen.